Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Michael Talks Football channel. It's that time. We're getting close to it. The champions. It can only have one reaction.
Here's you, Skill.
Okay. I have nothing to toast you with.
Woo! Woo! Oh, my goodness.
Well,
Oh my goodness. Here we go, people. The Champions League group stage predictions. We're going to go through every group. We're going to give you information about Antwerp, FC Copenhagen, Galatasaray, Feyenoord, all the teams. We're going to give you in-depth analysis as we predict each and every group as we go on. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button. If you're watching on replay, give me your predictions in the comments down below. Which two teams are going to progress from each group? Who's going to finish third and go down to the Europa League? We have some very, very intriguing groups to talk about. Before we begin, big up to CJ, big up to Steve in the house, big up to Samasi, big up to Matt, big up to Sebastian, big up to Freeman, big up to Dew, big up to V-Hub. How are you all doing? We're dropping all. Remember to drop it. Remember to drop the Champions League emojis if you are a member. Drop them all. I know it's pretty hilarious, Samasi. Pretty hilarious. Big up to Jeff Serrano. How are you doing? It is time. It is time, people. This is the Champions League. This is the last edition with this format. Until we go to that, I don't know what format we're going next year with 8 teams in each group. Oh, it's going to be very intriguing to talk about. But we got a lot of groups to go through. We're going to give you predictions for each group. So let's begin. Let's begin. KC, why are we talking about bum-ass competitions? KC, you better win this competition for once. You know? You got to perform in this group. And big up Maximus as well. We'll be talking about Napoli in the groups. But people, before we begin, we got to see Group A. So, Group A. Now it gets interesting, huh? It gets interesting. So we got Bayern Munich, Manchester United, FC Copenhagen, and Galatasaray in Group A. Now, before I kind of give my predictions, I think it's pretty much certain that everybody, and I mean everybody other than maybe Galatasaray fans, have Bayern Munich and Manchester United going out of this group, right? Everybody has these two teams. Look, Galatasaray are a very good team, and we know what they did over the summer, getting Zaha, Ndombele, Ziyech, and others, and definitely Galatasaray will be pushing for that second spot. There is no doubt about it. Do they have enough quality in the defense to keep clean sheets and just minimize? Because the attack is great, and we see Icardi. Mauro Icardi right now is a guy who's reborn. He's looking like he's having fun. And I don't think the wife is getting too much involved in his life. And he's balling out. He's constantly scoring each and every game. And now it's just about Dries Mertens getting involved. Lucas Torreira then holding down the midfield as the defensive midfielder. What I just saw from Galatasaray against Molde, I was like, okay, I know it's a playoff round. We know Molde are a good team. But defensively, Galatasaray did not look the greatest there. So they're going to have to really elevate their level, especially going up against Bayern Munich and Manchester United. And you can say what you want about United's attack and it's being dead or it's not good enough. You know, we've seen the problems now with the right wing. They're now going down to Pelistri. I just think Galatasaray, they got to be defensively sound in this. They can score goals. It's just about defensively. Do they have enough in the defense? And look, got to give another. Oh, and as we go with the lights, maybe that is lights out for the next team I'm going to talk about, and that is FC Copenhagen, who are making now back-to-back Champions League appearances. I think for them, it's really just about aiming to get the third spot, right? That's the main goal for them. They even got a draw last season against Manchester City at home. Players to think of: Diego Gonzalez and then Rooney Barchi. Rooney Barchi. Remember the name, people. Rooney Barchi, the 17-year-old Swedish wonder kid. He is a baller for FC Copenhagen. So I would keep an eye on him. And we've seen FC Copenhagen, very good home side. It's just going to be away from home. I mean, they're going to Old Trafford, they're going to the Allianz Arena, and they're going to Galatasaray Stadium. It's a tall order for FC Copenhagen, but they could probably fight for that third spot, just about. But here is my predictions, people. So Bayern Munich first, Manchester United second, Galatasaray third, and FC Copenhagen fourth. I just think Bayern, they're just, right? They didn't get Palhinha. Palhinha a contract extension with Fulham, by the way, people. But I just think they have much more in attack. Okay, defensively, you could say, oh, are Bayern that strong, this and that. I think Bayern Munich, they are still a very, very good team. It's just about the midfield. If Kimmich or Goretzka is injured, what the heck is Bayern's midfield? Is going for Man United. I easily get the second spot in. That's where I'm a little bit worried with Manchester United. The attack is just not good enough right now. But let's see. Look, so my predictions is Bayern Munich first, Man United second, and Galatasaray third, and FC Copenhagen fourth. Let me know your predictions in the chat. And if you're watching on replay, let me know your predictions. Do you think United should be worried about Galatasaray and the attacker that they have, or do you think United have enough? They still got Lisandro. Obviously, Varane is injured, but I just think United, they got a good team, people. Let's be honest here. United still have a decent team to get out of this group. I mean, if United don't get out of this group, I mean, that's, I think, an embarrassment. Really, really an embarrassment. But we've seen with Ten Hag, the guy does very well in cup competitions. It's just, okay, we have to see how United are performing. And right now, it's not performing well, but maybe they can get some more form. It's just, if for United in those last two games, and I think the last two games are Galatasaray away and then Bayern at home. If United are in a situation where they're still fighting with Galatasaray heading into the last two games, then I would start getting worried. You don't want to go away to Galatasaray because we saw United away from home. They're not the strongest team. At home, cool. But if they're having to go away to Galatasaray and getting a point, could get nervous. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think United should comfortably finish second, and Bayern Munich will finish first. And the ultimate goal for Bayern is winning the Champions League. When you're getting players like Kim Min-jae and Harry Kane, you better be challenging for the Champions League. It's just about the midfield that I would probably be worried about when it comes to Bayern Munich. But other than that, I think they have such a solid team. Very solid team. Big up to Doug, big up to Sebastian, big up to Matt. Matt saying Bayern Munich first, Man United second, Galatasaray third, and FC Copenhagen fourth. And Casey's going with Bayern Munich first, Galatasaray second, and Man United third. I mean, I think it would be bad. I mean, really, really bad if Man United finished third. Oh, that would be bad. That would be bad. Big up to Lewis says, with the away game against Galatasaray, I think this team lacks the mental edge to get over the line. I think you're talking about Man United. This is what I'm saying. Like, if United are going to be in a situation where they have to get a point away in Galatasaray, do you trust these players? If you're United fans, let me know. Let me know in the chat if you're watching replay. Do you trust these players to go to a very hostile environment and get a point? I think that's going to be the concern, but they should be fine at heading into that game. I would believe that. Doug is saying Bayern Munich first, Galatasaray second. Damn, a lot of people are going Galatasaray second. I'm just telling you, people, just watch the highlights Galatasaray against Molde. I don't like this team. They're great on paper. They got a lot of these players, but you got to build the chemistry. Maybe Icardi can do the job. But let's go with Group B. We got Sevilla, Arsenal, PSV Eindhoven, and Lens. So, Obviously, we know with Arsenal, it's been now 7-8 years since they've been in the Champions League. Their fans are hyped. I mean, I would be hyped if I'm an Arsenal fan. You finally get to hear the Champions League music. The last time they were in the Champions League, they got 10-2 on aggregate by Bayern Munich. How will this team do? Some of these players have never played in the Champions League. Saka, Martinelli, Saliba, Ramsdale. So how are Arsenal going to respond? I think they really got a good draw here, though. They could have easily had a group like Group F, like we're going to talk about, the group of death. They could have had Man United's group, which is tough, but they got Sevilla, who we know what they're going to do. They got PSV, who PSV did beat Arsenal last season in the Europa League, and they got Lens, who are not the same Lens as last season. So I think for Arsenal, really favorable group, and we'll see how it goes for them. I think this is going to be a good test, and I think sort of a warming up to the Champions League, right? For a lot of these players. You don't want to just go against the tough teams immediately. I think they can mature, and then I think they will be fine in this group. Now let's get to Sevilla, right? These guys, man, I swear, they want to drop down in the Champions League. I mean, to the Europa League. That's what they want to do. Look at the season they've had so far. Sevilla have been terrible. Defensively, they look shambles. Mendilibar, I don't know what's going on. They've lost Bunu. They've lost Montiel. I think Sevilla, though, they played very well against Man City in the Super Cup, right? I really like Sevilla played a good game. They still got En-Nesyri, of course. They still got Rakitic. Ramos is now back at his home club. But it's just, I don't know with Sevilla, right? They're definitely going to battle it out with PSV and Lens for that second spot. But does this club just want to go down to the Europa League and just keep on collecting the Europa League trophies and keep collecting the Europa League trophies? They got a good team, but they got to start now picking up form. The Champions League is starting next week, people. And Sevilla don't look like anything near a Champions League squad. Nothing near to it with the way they're playing. So they have to really improve. But they got the quality. It's just the same thing as last season for Sevilla. They started off terribly. We were talking about relegation battle. Then they picked it up in the second half of the season, and then they won the Europa League. Is it going to be a similar pattern this season? Who knows? But now PSV are back in the Champions League group stage for the first time since 2019, I believe it is. They obviously have Peter Bosz as the manager. Didn't really rate him a lot at Lyon, but so far at PSV, he is. I mean, that performance they put against Rangers, 5-1 at home, was scintillating of the football they were playing, the high press. Luke de Jong is looking good. Players. We see what Serginho Dest is bringing. Ricardo Pepe, Chucky Lozano back, even though I don't really rate Chucky Lozano highly. Maybe he can regain his form at the club that he got his first stint in Europe at. PSV, look, I think they can cause trouble to Sevilla. We saw they beat Arsenal at home last season. Hey, let's see. Look, I think PSV can surprise. I think they can surprise. Steve was talking about them. Shout out to Steve. He's been on the channel. He talked a lot about PSV. I think he said that PSV would finish first, which I'm not going to go that crazy when you see my predictions, but I do like the way they are building the squad. They look very exciting. A lot of good players. So they are... Keep an eye on PSV this season. And then the last team is Lens, who are back in the Champions League for the first time since 2002. It's going to be tough for them. They lost Fofana. They lost Lois Openda. But it's a great occasion. And Frank Heise is a very good manager for Lens. It's just... I don't know if they really have the sort of quality. Like, when you lose, like, a player like Fofana, it's such a big loss in the midfield. They obviously signed the talented striker Wahi from Montpellier for like 30 million, which was a lot of money for Lens, obviously with the sales that they got for Openda. But let's see. Look, Lens can surprise. I just don't know if a lot of these players have never been in this situation. The manager of the group. So Arsenal first, I think it's pretty much easy. PSV second. I think PSV can do it. I just don't have a lot of trust in Sevilla at the moment. But look, Sevilla have the quality. They got the experience. I just worry about them defensively. What I've seen the first couple of games, that Sevilla defense is no bueno. No bueno. And then I have Lens fourth. unfortunate for Lens, but I think Lens are here to just enjoy the occasion. They're going to give a tough game. I don't think they're going to get like destroyed 4-0, 5-0, like maybe we could say like a Braga would. Lens are going to give teams a very tough game, but I think if Arsenal do not top this group and they get second or they go down to the third to the Europa League, that's an embarrassment. And you really have to then think to yourself, Arteta, are you going to bring any silverware to us? Like, let's be honest here. All right, before I move on to Group C. Arteta has lost to Sporting. He has lost to Villarreal. He has lost to did he lose to Olympiacos as well? I think he lost to Olympiacos. Okay? You better finish first in this group. That's all I got to say to Arsenal fans. You do not want to play Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barca in that round of 16. You could say, oh, yes, we're a better team and this sort of stuff. Champions League nights are different. We always say it. They're always different. The players elevate their performances. So the Arsenal players got to be ready and they got to win this group, in my opinion. Now, let's get on to Group C, where we got Napoli, Real Madrid, Braga, and Union Berlin. And shout out to Union Berlin. They are here. But let's go with Braga first. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I think Braga are going to really struggle in this group. I really think they're going to struggle. I think it's their first Champions League since 2014, 2013, 2012, somewhere around then. That's the last time I remember. I think for Braga, they got Ricardo Horta. They got some decent players. What I saw against Panathinaikos, I was like, this is not a Champions League team. If we're going to be honest, this is not a Champions League team. But hey, Braga are here. They're going to enjoy it. You get to see the beautiful stadium they have with the big rock behind one of the goals. It's a very intriguing stadium that they built. Obviously, they built it, I think, for the Euros 2004. But if we're going to be honest, I think Braga are really going to struggle. I really do. Even though, like, they've competed well against, like, Sporting, Benfica. They even beat Benfica twice last season in Liga Portugal. It's different competition when you're going to away in Europe, when you're going to Real Madrid, you're going to Naples, you're going to Berlin. These are tough grounds to go to if you're a Braga fan. But now let's give a Union Berlin. I might have to... People, did you see the away kit that Union Berlin dropped today? Oh my. I might have to get that jersey. The black and the gold. Oh, that was nice. And it's funny. Do people think Union Berlin can surprise? Can Union Berlin, in their first ever Champions League, they have gone from the Conference League to the Europa League to the Champions League all in the past 3 seasons. This is amazing. What Urs Fischer is doing with this squad is genuinely amazing. And the football they play, I will tell you right now, people, the football Union Berlin play is not pretty. You thought it was going to be expansive, attacking football. Old school. We're taking it old school here. We're going set piece goals. We're scoring seven out of our 9 goals this season have been headers from Union Berlin. They just got Bonucci. They got Gosens. They got Fofana from Chelsea. They got, like, the recruitment Union Berlin have done is amazing. Tell this to an Union Berlin fan 5-6 years ago. They said you were smoking crack. Now, all the Union Berlin fans might be on crack because they're in La La Land right now. They're playing in the Champions League. They're going away to Real Madrid and Napoli. What an occasion. Can they surprise? Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I think my internet is performing like this internet today, man. I don't know what's going on, people. Apologies for the internet, but I think for Union Berlin, you're going from the Conference League where I think they finished 3rd in the group. They go to the Europa League where I believe they finished 2nd or 1st. Then they lost to Royal Union. This is a tall order. If somehow Union Berlin make it out of this group, amazing. Then we got Napoli. So Napoli, I really think that they had sort of a disappointing end to their Champions League campaign last season where they lost to AC Milan. And I think this squad, they want revenge. Right? They had a lot of changes. They lost Kim Min-jae. They lost Spalletti. I don't really rate Rudi Garcia that highly, if I'm going to be honest. The performance I saw against Lazio, I was like, eh, no real inventiveness, no real passion. I just thought it was sort of bland football at times from Napoli. But they are a very dangerous team. Kivara, Anguissa, Osimhen. They got a lot of good players. They got Lindstrom from Eintracht Frankfurt, which I thought was a brilliant buy. Napoli are going to be a very dangerous team. It's just, is Rudi Garcia just going to hold this squad from taking that next level? I wonder if that's really going to be the difference for Napoli this season in the Champions League. Like, they're in a tough group. But remember last season, what they did to Liverpool, what they did to Ajax, what they did to Rangers. But maybe people didn't really see the Napoli. And have maybe teams now figured out a little bit more about Napoli. Okay, if you stop the service to Osimhen, can he provide more to the game? If you can just double team on Kivara, he doesn't get a lot of help. I still think it's a very good team. I think they just got to sort of reinvent themselves a little bit more. And if Kivara and Osimhen are balling out like they were last season, they're going to be a very dangerous team. And then the record holders, Hala Madrid, Real Madrid, these guys, what do we say, people? They might not have Vinny for 2 or 3 of the group stage games, but Real Madrid, no matter what, they can be in the worst form ever. When the bright lights and the song and the anthem hit, this club always rises to the occasion. And I think Real Madrid will do it again, and they will finish first in the group. Napoli to finish second, Union Berlin to finish third, and Braga to finish fourth. Can Union Berlin maybe go past Napoli? That is the question mark, people. Let me give your thoughts in the chat. Do you think Union Berlin can finish second, drop a 1, or do you think Union Berlin are going to finish third, drop a 2 in the chat right now as we move on to Group D? And shout out to Jude Bellingham. I mean, the guy is just performing like crazy right now. Absolutely stunning performances week in and week out. And now he's not playing at Dortmund. He's playing at the most historic club in the world with the most Champions Leagues. And now he's going to want to perform. Look, Joe, maybe Braga can surprise and get third, but I don't know. I just don't see them being a good side in Europe. Like I said before, they gave tough games to Sporting and Benfica and Porto last season. In Europe, it's just it's a different test, though. It really is a different test altogether. But let's now move on to your team, Jao. We got Benfica, Inter, RB Salzburg, and Real Sociedad in this group. A very intriguing group because yeah. I don't know what's going on with the internet today, people. The internet just is not cooperating with me, and it is frustrating, but we're going to try and do this quickly. Okay, let's start off with RB Salzburg, right? As it is always the case with Salzburg, a lot of changes. Their manager, Yasle, is gone. He went to Saudi Arabia. Don't really know their new manager that much. They still got a lot of good players. They lost, obviously, Benjamin Sesko. But let's I think he did infiltrate my internet, to be honest. Oh man, Kai Havertz, that's a good one. That's a good one. They still got good players. I'm trying to there's Konate, there's Simic, and there's these sort of guys. Look, RB Salzburg are going to play the Red Bull way, high pressing, attacking football, a little bit maybe more defensive when they go away from home. But I think Yasle is a big loss as their manager because he's actually he's a good manager, He's a good manager, and it's going to be tough for RB Salzburg. I just think now they've gotten rid of a lot of quality in the last couple of seasons, 2 to 3 seasons. I think it's now catching up to them more and more. And now they kind of have to go with another rebuilding now for the next 3 years and see how it goes. But yeah, let's see how they do. RB Salzburg, then Real Sociedad back in the Champions League for the first time since 2014. I really like this side. Kubo, Zubamendi. Then they picked up Tierney. They got Zakarian. I don't really like Real Sociedad could cause trouble to Benfica and Inter. Let's not count them out. Like we saw what Kubo was doing to Germany. We've seen Kubo at the start of this season. Once this guy has that finishing touch and he can just add goals to his game, Kubo is going to be a big, big problem for a lot of teams. And we saw Real Sociedad, they give tough games to Barcelona, Real Madrid last season. Let's see how they do in the Champions League in their first campaign for a very, very long time. They were obviously in the same Europa League group as Manchester United. Yeah, Man United last season. Then we got Benfica, Roger Smith's side, Di Maria, Kochko. Love the players they picked up. Obviously, I think Grimaldo really is a big loss for the team. So let's see how. It's just like I just have question marks on Benfica about the striker position. Like, Arthur Cabral, really? Arthur Cabral, Peter Musa. You guys know I rate Benfica highly. I think Roger Smith is a very good manager. We see the players they got. It's just about the goal scoring now. That's kind of an issue with, especially the striker, right? They can score all the goals in Liga Portugal, but I don't really trust like Arthur Cabral or Musa. So that's going to be the issue. But when you got Angel Di Maria, the guy is still performing and balling out like crazy. Let's see how they do. It's going to be fascinating to see how Benfica now kind of recuperate after sending Gonzalo Ramos. But we know they are a very good attacking team and defensively still strong, even though the first game of the season was crazy. I think it was against, was it Boavista where it was 3-2? That was an absolute insanity of a game. And then we got Inter. So the beaten finalists last season, no Lukaku anymore. He is absolutely no-show for Inter. And then they picked up Fratesi, Marcos Thuram. They got Cuadrado, Pavard. I think they made a lot of good signings, Inter, when you think about it. It's just, okay. Do they want to look at the form Lautaro? We know people, I don't think Lautaro is like a world-class striker. I think he's a good striker. I just don't think he's world-class. Right now, Lautaro's balling. He's balling out. There's no doubt about it. Like, he's balling out. We saw what Fratesi did with the Azzurri. He scored 2 goals against Ukraine. Okay. Inzaghi, just drop Mkhitaryan and play Fratesi. It doesn't matter if he's the left center midfielder. Just start him. The guy, him and Barella with Çalhanoğlu, that's a midfield. Because now Çalhanoğlu just loves the DM role. I think Inter is going to be a tough group because, Benfica and Real Sociedad, and Benfica want revenge on Inter for what happened in the quarterfinals last season. It's a very, very difficult group. And let me know your predictions in the chat. And if you're watching on replay, what's your predictions for this group? My predictions are Inter to finish first, Benfica to finish second, Real Sociedad third, and RB Salzburg fourth. But I think that Benfica Real Sociedad battle, it could be like first, be like between 1 or 2 points. Let me actually remind myself of when these two teams are playing against each other or who Benfica are playing in the final match day, because that could be interesting to see how that goes down. So Benfica, the second last match day, they got Inter at home and then RB Salzburg away. Could get interesting. Oh yeah, we're gonna get Kochko against Çalhanoğlu. Yeah, very good battle. Very, very good battle. I think Benfica are going to the Europa League. Salzburg, in my opinion, I do think might end up and going to the Europa League, which would be kind of a disappointment after the last 2 seasons. Benfica have been to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, which is the funny thing. They've been back-to-back quarterfinals appearances, even though it might not seem like it. They got to be worried, though, because Real Sociedad are a very good team. Pick up to Diego says, Inzaghi wants a quality midfielder in the left center mid role position. Let's see if Barella can do it and play Fratesi. That's going to be the problem, because a lot with Fratesi at Sassuolo, he was mainly playing as the right CM, and that's kind of Barella's position. So who are you going to play the left CM? Is it going to be Fratesi or Barella, or can they switch, during the game? I just don't think you can play Mkhitaryan anymore. I think you got to just go with Fratesi. You signed the guy for a lot of money. Play him. Play the dude. He's a player. He's a very good player. If you haven't done so already, people, hit the like button. Let's get it up to 50 likes. Come on, people. This is the Champions League group stage predictions. Do it right now. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. So, Group E, we got Feyenoord, Atletico, Lazio, and Celtic. I mean, okay. We can say this about this group, right? It might not be the greatest footballing spectacle, But the fans and the atmosphere might be the best. Might be the best, you know? Like a Feyenoord Lazio game is going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely crazy. But let's start off with Celtic. Brendan Rodgers is back. Now I don't understand this hiring, if I'm going to be honest, people. I really do not understand the hiring at all. I think it's just sort of okay, let's bring him back. Let's see how he does, but I really thought like under Postecoglou, they were really impressive last season in the Champions League. But when you're getting Brendan Rodgers, they still got decent players like Furuhashi and these sort of guys. I think Celtic might struggle more this year, but they got actually a better group from themselves this year. So, if you're a Celtic fan, you can kind of be optimistic about this group and say, hey, we can progress out of this group, but it comes down to Brendan Rodgers. Like, I don't rate the manager anymore. I think his best days are gone. Let's see how it happens. And then we got Lazio, who had a difficult start to the season. They signed a lot of new players, Daichi Kamada, Castellanos. But the first two games were dreadful. Then they go away to Naples and beat Napoli away. And maybe their campaign can now start for this season. They got, obviously, Juventus on the weekend on Saturday. We know Sarri ball. But we have seen Lazio, like in the last couple of seasons in Europe, especially away from home. Remember last season, people? What did they lose? 6-0 or 6-1 to Midtjylland? To Midtjylland. 6-1. This is the problem. Like, Lazio, they don't do well at all. I mean, at all in Europe. They are dreadful. So they're going to have to improve on that if they want to progress out of this group. But they got players, man. They got players. Look at the way Luis Alberto is playing. He's a baller, man. I mean, Sergei Milinkovic-Savic is a huge loss. The guy was the engine, the creator, the box-to-box. He was everything for Lazio. You cannot replace that sort of quality. But let's see what happens. Then we get to Feyenoord, the Eredivisie champions, back in the Champions League for the first time since 2018. They have a lot of experience for being in the Conference League final, going to the quarterfinals of the Europa League last season. Jimenez is a threat. Hedruda at the back, very good defender. And I think Arne Slot is a brilliant manager. I think, was it the first two games of the first game, they were kind of struggling. And I think the last two games, Feyenoord have won 5-1 and 4-1. The attack is going. They got a lot of good youngsters. I think Feyenoord can be a dangerous team in this group. We know Arne Slot ball. Very much attacking, pressing, a lot of crosses into the box. I do like the way Feyenoord play. And I think they got Lazio's number. We saw they were in the same group last season in the Europa League. So it's good. It's going to be an intriguing battle between Feyenoord and Lazio. And then we got Diego Simeone and Atletico. Now, Atletico cannot finish third or fourth in this group. Remember what happened last season, people? In a group with Bayer Leverkusen. No, it's Bayer Leverkusen. I cannot remember the teams. It was Club Brugge. It was Porto. And it was another team. I think it was Bayer Leverkusen, if memory serves me right. Atletico have to win this group. There is not going to go another season where they finish second or third in this group. They have to improve their European record right now. They still got Griezmann. They still got a lot of good players. Morata is in form. They're going to be dangerous in the counterattack, and they're going to play defensive away from home. I think they should win this group. It was Bayer Leverkusen. Okay, thank you guys. I thought it was. So if you're Atletico, you almost have the same sort of group. You cannot go third or fourth again. You cannot. That would be an embarrassment in my opinion. So Atleti will finish first, because if they don't, that is a shame on them. And I got Feyenoord to finish second. I think Feyenoord are a good team. I don't really trust Lazio in Europe. Maybe they can do well at home. Away from home, let's see. And I think Lazio third, and then I think Celtic will finish fourth. But who knows? The battle between second and fourth could be separated by 3 or 4 points. This is like a very sort of hard group to predict, because I don't really know how it's going to go down. I really don't know how it's going to go down. But Atleti, you better win this group. That's all I'm going to say. You better win this group. Oh, boy. Let me just drop this.
Here's you, Skill.
Okay. I have nothing to toast you with. Because,
Oh, my goodness.
well,
Oh, my goodness. Hey, that's for tomorrow. Oh, my goodness. is this probably one of the crazier groups we have ever seen in the Champions League. Probably since, I'm trying to remember. In my lifetime, I've never seen a group like this where you look at the 4 teams. Okay, you could say, are they playing the best right now? No, but we saw how they performed last season. Paris Saint-Germain, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan, and Newcastle back in the Champions League for the first time like in 20 or 19 years or something like that. Okay, so this is going to be a sort of long video or sort of long section about this group because the last 2 groups are pretty much easy to predict. Which angle should I start from, people? Should I start from what I'm worried about in this group, or could we get a surprise? What angle do you guys want me to start from? Because if I'm going to be honest, the way Dortmund and Newcastle are playing right now, they better fear for their lives. They better fear for their lives because right now, Dortmund and Newcastle look like Europa League teams with the way they're playing. Now, with the Champions League, you never know. Things can change. Players can improve on their performances. But Newcastle got absolutely destroyed by Brighton. This is going to be a fascinating group. Thank you, Jeff, for reminding me. I forgot about the narratives. I really forgot about the narratives. So the first game this season, the Champions League, Tonali goes back to Milan. Donnarumma is going back to Milan. I fear for Donnarumma. Because if you were watching Italy versus Ukraine, anytime Donnarumma got the ball, he was booed. I do not want to know what the sound is going to be like when Donnarumma touches the ball for Paris Saint-Germain against AC Milan. Oh, he's going to get booed like crazy. Alexander Isak goes back to Dortmund where it didn't really work out. He had a lot of injuries, a lot of hype, but didn't work out. Got a lot of narratives. I love it. I love this group. Let me start with Dortmund. They got to improve drastically. And I mean drastically. Like, look, I don't want to overreact and say that this or that, but if you're a Borussia Dortmund, you go 2-0 up against Heidenheim. I don't want to dwell on the game. Heidenheim are a newly promoted team. And that second half, Dortmund crumbled. It just seems when there's adversity, this team just are gonna mentally just are so weak. And Terzic with his tactics, you're kind of starting to realize maybe Terzic, like, is he the right guy? You got Haller. They got Ben Sabani, they got Sabitzer. If I'm going to be honest, I think Dortmund had a woeful transfer window. Like, okay, you signed. Why did you just sign Nicholas Füllkrug? I really need to understand. Like, he's a very good striker, but you don't need a striker. You need center backs. You didn't even get Belo Kotchap, who went to PSV. I think really Dortmund fumbled big time in the transfer window, but they got Champions League experience. They got Julian Brandt. They got Mukoko. They got Adeyemi. They got good players, Dortmund. I would just fear for them defensively, especially against some of these teams with their attacking prowess and with the strikers like Gonzalo Ramos, Kolo Muani, Alexander Isak, Giroud, Okafor. Oh, it's going to be tough for Dortmund. It really is going to be tough. But hey, we did say, okay, Dortmund, first half of the season last year, they weren't looking good. But this season, they have to be good immediately. They were great. Second half of this season, the Bundesliga, amazing record. But with this group, you cannot go slow out of the gates. You got to be a thoroughbred. You got to get front in line and boom, you got to take off. And that is going to be the problem. Can Dortmund do it? I think their first game is away to PSG. Oh boy, that's going to be very long. Okay, now let's get to Newcastle. Amazing occasion. If you're a Newcastle fan and you're like, oh my God, what is this group? We're not prepared. If you want to be with the big boys, you got to play with the big boys. If you want to get into the VIP club, you got to pay the big bucks. We know Newcastle got the bucks. Do they want to pay for it? So, Newcastle don't look great. We can all admit that. Man City away, no really attacking prowess. Liverpool at home can never lose that game. Never lose that game. And then away to Brighton, you got absolutely thumped big time. 3-0. It could have been worse. But maybe international break came at a good time. Even for Dortmund, both of them came at a good time. Can they now start the season well? It's just for Newcastle. What players do they have that have Champions League experience? Tonali? Trying to think. Is there any other players that have Champions League experience on the Newcastle side, people? Let me know. Or is it only Tonali? Because I'm trying to think. Fabian Schär doesn't have it. Maybe Sven Botman does if he was at Lille. Maybe he had some Champions League experience. So a lot of these players, the big occasion, it's here. This is it. How is Gordon going to perform? How is Isaac? How is Almiron? How is Bruno Guimaraes? How is Joe Linton? Matt Target, Dan Burn. Oh, Trippier as well. Thank you, guys. Yeah, Trippier. I forgot about Trippier. So a lot of these players, there is some guys that have experience. Eddie Howe has never been in a European occasion. How is he going to perform against managers like Luis Enrique, Pioli, Terzic? Meh. So it's going to be fascinating to see for Newcastle, but I think it's more just about you're with the big boys. You get to go to fantastic stadiums across Europe, especially for the fans. I bet for the fans, this is an amazing occasion. But when it comes to the football, could get tough for Newcastle. It really, really could get tough. And I'm really intrigued to see how they do. And Isak now has to perform like a baller he is. Isak must perform if Newcastle want to get out of this group. You got obviously Callum Wilson, because Ali Monaron, that guy does not, he is woeful right now. I mean, Almiron is woeful. Watched him for Paraguay in the international break. Terrible. So Gordon, Harvey Barnes, Isak, these guys got to step up. They got to step up big time. But hey, who knows? Maybe when the Champions League music hits St. James's Park, the players rise to the occasion and the crowd is up for it and they can build a fortress there. Let's see how they perform. Now let's get to AC Milan, right? A lot of new signings. Reinders, Pulisic, Yunus Musa, Loftus-Cheek. A lot of intriguing signings. And they started up brilliant. 3 for 3 in the Serie A. They signed Okafor as well. I really like the way they're playing. Really front foot, pressing. Obviously, Tomori got that stupid red card against Roma. They got a good team. Like, let's be honest. If you're going to compare this team for Milan compared to last season, you would say it's better. Because now it's not just Leao and hope and pray. Now it's Leao. Now it's Reinders. Now it's Pulisic. Then you got, thank you, YG. You got Chukwueze off the bench. Okafor. They got options now. It's not just Leao. Where we saw last season in the Champions League, especially in the semifinals, when Leao was injured, Milan had no threat. Absolutely zero threat. Now, the left side, you got Theo Hernandez and Leao. Then you got Pulisic. Giroud, just get the goals in the box. You're good. I really like the way Milan are playing. They got Champions League experience. This is not from 2 seasons ago where for Milan and a lot of the players, it was the first time ever they were a young squad. They're building more. They're building more. They got more experience. When you got a keeper like Magnan, you're always good. You're always good. So I think Milan, they could even finish first in this group. Let's be honest. Like, okay, PSG had a lot of changes. But if you're Milan, you can be confident about yourself. And you can be confident that, okay, even if one player is not performing, we can bring somebody off the bench and we can change the game. And with Rafael Leao, we know the guy is a baller. Baller with a capital B. All right. Oh, well, can't give the predictions yet. Now, PSG. Oh, Paris Saint-Germain. Right? Let me know in the chat and if you're watching a replay. Put a 1 if you think this is the best transfer window PSG have had. Don't think about the signings. Think about the business they have done and the players they have gotten rid of. And put a 2 if you don't think it's been the best summer they've had. They've had a lot of changes, right? I have to relook at the changes they have made because I can't remember them all because they have signed a lot of players this summer. Obviously, they got Gonzalo Ramos, Kolo Muani, Asensio, Skriniar, Ugarte, Lucas Hernandez, Ousmane Dembele, Barcola. They got rid of Messi, Ramos, Neymar. Oh my God. There's so many changes. Paredes, Sanchez is gone. Wijnaldum, Verratti. There is so many changes for this PSG team. Luis Enrique is the new manager. They obviously destroyed Lyon. I'm not going to take too much into that game because we saw Lyon are just an absolute mess at the moment. They're a mess. It's just, I can't trust this club in the Champions League. I simply cannot. Okay, maybe they can do well in the group because PSG have so much quality. They have so much. When I look at the signing like of Ugarte, I think the he's a beast, absolute beast of a midfielder. You got Mbappe. Don't rate. I'm sorry. I'm off the Dembele train. The guy, no more Dembele. You got Colomboan. You got Gonzalo Ramos. You have options off the bench. You got a good defense with Skriniar, Lucas Hernandez. They got PSG have a team, people. Is it a Champions League winning team? No, but I think it can make it to a semifinals. 100% it can make it to semifinals. And let's see then how Luis Enrique ball develops more and more as the season goes on. I think for this group, though, PSG will finish first. I think PSG will finish first. I think AC Milan will finish second. I think Newcastle will finish third and Dortmund to finish fourth. Let me know your predictions in the comments and the chat right now, people. But if PSG do not make it out of this group, that is a sign to Mbappe. Get the hell out of Paris. Get the hell out of Paris. Just leave immediately if you are Kylian Mbappe. Okay, Maximus, I like it. Switch 1 and 2. Intriguing. So do we actually think that, hey, AC Milan can actually win the group? I do. Oh, I actually see a couple people saying that. Maybe AC Milan can win this group. That game. When is this game? I need to search. When is... Wow. 7th of November, people. 7th of November. It is Milan and PSG. Oh, boy. Donnarumma. Be very careful. Be very, very careful. Yeah, could be. Yeah, look, Jeff, these guys, PSG, Nasser Al-Khalifi, he's talking, oh my God, the relationship has never been better than before. That sounds like Chris Humphries and Kim Kardashian, and then 2 weeks later, they divorced. It's the same old crap. I don't want to hear it from you guys. Perform. If you win the Champions League, then Mbappe, you can stay in PSG. That's fine. But if you don't, you got to get the heck out of there. You do. There's no this talk of, maybe contract extension and this sort of stuff. Mbappe, if your team does not win the champion, and you have to perform as well. We saw what you did against Bayern last season. It was not good enough. So let's see how it all goes down. Oh, yeah, it's going to be amazing. So they play back-to-back. Match day 3 and 4, Milan and PSG. Cannot wait. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see those two teams go up against each other because Rafael Leao against Hakimi? Ooh, that's a battle. That is a battle and a half right there, people, if you ask me. So let's move on. We got 2 more groups to talk about. Maybe not 2 of the most sexiest groups, but we got to talk about it because this is the Michael Talks football channel. We give love to every team. We got Man City, the defending champions, RB Leipzig, Cervana Svesta, and Young Boys. So, I mean, I'm going to be honest, people. You guys know I do like to keep up with a lot of European football. For Young Boys, I'm not too sure about them, if I'm going to be honest. I think I was trying to look at the names they had, and I think they had 1 or 2 players that I recognized that beat Man United. I was like, okay, I recognize those players. Other than that, I mean, Young Boys are going to struggle. I think Cervana Svesta is going to struggle, even though they didn't lose a single game last season in the league. And they got players like, I'm just trying to remember the names, Bukari, Kangwa. They got decent players, Cervana Svesta. And they could cause trouble, especially at home. We know how the home crowd really gives them a lot of energy. But I think they did lose their last game in the Serbian league, if I'm not mistaken. And I think for Young Boys, they obviously did very well against Maccabi Haifa, beat them 3-0. I think they're just going to both struggle in this group, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. Maybe Cervana Svesta could get something against RB Leipzig at home, but I really don't see it. But, hey, I do like this RB Leipzig side. Xavi Simons, Benjamin Sesko, Lois Openda. If I tell you those 3 names, you're like, that's scary. Like, that is scary. We saw what Benjamin Sesko is now doing. He finally got some minutes under RB Leipzig, and he scored 2 goals against Union Berlin. What does he do in international break? Destroys Northern Ireland. I think Benjamin Šeško now is finding his feet, and he could really. Benjamin Šeško against Haaland. That is a battle I want to see. Xavi Simons, let's see how he does against Man City. I like the players they got Leipzig. I think they don't have enough to obviously beat Man City. And we know the last time these two teams played against each other, Haaland dropped 5 and Man City won 7-0. And for Man City, like, guys, they're for me the clear favorites. As of right now, they are the clear favorites to win the Champions League again. And they did some very good business. Matteo Nunes, Doku, Gvardiol going up against his old team, Kovacic. Man City did great business. Really great business. I think kind of Pep wants those sort of players who drive more with the ball, which was an intriguing take I saw from somebody I know. It's going to be fascinating to see. Man City got over the mindset of, oh, we can't win the Champions League. They got it, and now they want more. I think they really want more. They want to do the 4-peat in the Premier League, and they want to go back-to-back in the Champions League. And then we're going to really talk about, guys, like, this could be one of the greatest teams in footballing history. Can be one of the best teams. But let's see. Let's see what happens. But I think this is a pretty much given group. Man City to finish first, Leipzig to finish second, Shavana Svesta to finish third, and Young Boys to finish fourth. Easy peasy, guys. It's really easy peasy group to pick out from. And then the last group, we got Group H, where Barca fans are going to be very happy about it. We got Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Antwerp. And if you haven't done so already, hit the like button, people. We only got what? 32 likes. Yeah. You're performing like Kai Havertz in front of goal. Hit the like button, people. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. So, Antwerp. This is the first time, I repeat, this is the first time ever Antwerp are playing in the Champions League group stage. Think back in the 53, 54, 55, somewhere around then, they were playing in the European Cup. But this is the first time they've ever played in the group stage. And I mean, the way they did it last season to win the Belgian Pro League. If you guys don't remember Alderweireld's incredible goal? That's how they won the league. 93rd minute, incredible scenes. Fans were crying, everything about it. They got Alderweireld. They were led by Mark van Bommel. I think, look, they have a lot of intriguing players. And you guys are going to see that, especially when they're playing in the Champions League. You're like, oh, okay. I like the looks of this player. I like the looks of this player. But they're in a tough group. I think, however, they could surprise. I think Antwerp can surprise. So let's see what happens there. For Shakhtar, it's kind of sort of difficult to predict. Obviously, I don't know much about the team. It's more decimated as we go on. Stepanenko, of course, still there as the captain. But Shakhtar did, I say, sort of surprise last season in the Champions League. And, obviously they lost to Feyenoord in the Europa League. I just don't know if this team is anymore there. I don't know if it's there anymore. And they're going to play their home games, I believe, in Hamburg, Germany, which is going to be intriguing to see. There's at least going to be Champions League football finally back in Hamburg. The guys can't even get promoted to the Bundesliga, but they get Champions League football. I just think Shakhtar are going to struggle. Porto kind of changes again, losing Otavio. They kept Taremi, Costa Southside. You guys know how much I highly rate Alan Varela, the midfield they picked up from Boca. But Porto I think Porto really are they should be finishing second. I think Porto really got a good draw for themselves because they could have been in a much tougher group. And I think for Porto fans, they'll be happy and they'll finish second in the group. And Barcelona. Now, if we are going to have a scenario where somehow, some way, Barcelona do not finish first in this group, even if they finish second, it is an abomination. It is a travesty. It is a sackable offense. Barcelona have to, and I mean have to, finish first. They got a very, very favorable group to themselves. They'll be happy about it. They'll be like, okay, finally, after how many seasons we can finally progress out of the group stage in the Champions League. They should, guys. Come on. Like, Barcelona, they have a very good team on paper. Like, let's think about this, people. Like, this is no under par Griezmann, Dembele, Coutinho, or some sort of stuff like that. Lamine Yamal is balling out. They got still Lewandowski. I know, Barca fans are not really happy with Lewandowski right now, but still got a solid striker. You got De Jong, who's playing really well. Pedri, Gavi, Gundogan, Cancelo now added. João Felix with Balde, with Araujo, with Christensen. They got Kunde, Ter Stegen. Barca have a very good team. So they have to get out of this. They do not make it out of this group. I think it's such an embarrassment. I think they will coast this group. I think they should be getting 15 points minimum. Minimum 15 points. They have to win 5 games to do it. I think they can. Last season, you could be like, okay, you know what? Injuries plagued them. That's why they went out of the group. They conceded too many easy goals. They were in a group with Inter, who went into the Champions League final. They were in a group with Bayern. This time, you have Porto, you have Antwerp, you have Shakhtar Donetsk. Barca fans, you better hope you get 15 points. You need to do it. So, that is the predictions, people. Let me know your thoughts. Are Barca... there is no way Barca are not progressing out of this group. There is no way. Absolutely no way. Big up, Doug. That is blasphemous if Barcelona don't qualify. I agree. Barca do not qualify. And one more time. If they do not do it. But let me know your predictions, people, in the comments down below. If you have watched this far, obviously give the hashtag UCL Mike is back. We do this every season. We cover the Champions League daily, especially on Monday night when we get the double pivot show back. We're going to do match day 1 predictions. As we got the first game, it is Milan against Newcastle. There might be a watch along for the game. So let me know your predictions in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And one last question for everybody watching on replay and in the chat. Who is going to win the Champions League this season? Will it be Bayern? Will Man City go back-to-back? Could Arsenal, Man United somehow win the Champions League as well? What about the Milan clubs? Real Madrid, Barcelona? I want to see your predictions right now, people. Who you guys got winning the Champions League? I think you kind of tell. I think Man City are going to win it again. I just think they're such a strong side. When you got Pep and you got Haaland, you're not going to beat that combo. It's like playing against Kobe and Shaq in their prime. You can try all you want to beat it. You will not beat it. You will not beat it. Maximus is going with Milan. Now, wow. If somehow Milan win it, that'll be amazing. I can't lie. If there's a team I would love to see win the Champions League, it is one of the Milan clubs, or I don't know, like Union Berlin, if we want to really live in a fantasy world. But I would love to see one Serie A team win it. And I'm not trusting Lazio. So if one of Napoli, Inter, or AC win the Champions League, I think that would be fantastic for Italian football. But let's see. I think Man City are favorites. The real Bayern have an outside chance. Yep, Bayern or Real Madrid. Oh man, if Jude Bellingham somehow wins the Champions League for Real Madrid, wow. And then if he goes on to win the Euros next summer for England, Jude then's got a case for the Ballon d'Or. Let's be honest here. And I don't want to see either Milan teams to win it low. I know. Yeah, they were beat in 2004, but what did they do in 2003? What did they do in 2002? They won, and they were dominant. Do you remember that series they had against the Nets? They swept them. Against the 76ers, they won in 5 games. They were dominant when they're prime. Of course, when they played against the Pistons, then Kobe and Shaq lost. But let's see. David T is going Bayern. Now, I think Bayern can really... They can challenge. I think they can challenge, but they got to get a midfielder. They have to get a DM in January. If they don't, and they go with Kimmich and Goretzka for the entire campaign, I don't really know if it's enough, if I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's enough, but hey, we have seen stranger things. And I saw somebody talk about the Union Berlin kit. If you guys have not seen this kit, wow. Trying to go down. This is a kit right here. Let me just show it to you. I might have to buy this kit, YG. I might have to buy this kit because this kit is nice. Look at Paramount looking good. Like Paramount has actually a nice logo that works on a football kit. The Union Berlin logo, black and gold. I think this might have to be a purchase, people. Why do they have JD? Oh, come on. What do you guys got JD, though? But this might be the best kit in the Champions League this season. This might be the best kit. Oh, this is nice. Might have to get. Do I get Bonucci for laughs on the back as well? Just to actually tell people in the future. Yeah, you know Bonucci. He was a decent defender. He played for Union Berlin. Be like, huh? What? What's going on here? Better ceiling, Causto or it's always difficult name. Sausto or Lindstrom? Oh, I do like Lindstrom though. I like Lindstrom. Sporting's third kit. Is it a nice kit actually? Let me check it out. Now we're gonna go with we're on the third. We're on the kit trail. Oh, they got also black and gold Sporting. Oh, I like that kit. Yeah, that's a nice kit too. That's a nice kit too. But everybody, that is the Champions League predictions for all of you lovely people to see. Of course, during the whole entire Champions League campaign, I'll be covering it. We'll be giving quarterfinal, round of 16. We'll be giving match reactions to some of the games. We'll be doing watch-alongs. We're going to definitely probably do a watch-along for Tuesday's game against Milan and Newcastle. So join me here then for that game because it is Tonali's return to the San Siro. Should be a good one. And of course, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We're going to get the Europa League predictions out. We're going to get the Conference League predictions out so you guys can understand and know about Kluxvik. You get to know about Slavia Praha and all the wonderful teams around Europe because it's not always about the big boys. It's all about also about the rest of Europe and giving them love. Come on, people. That's what we got to do on the Michael Talks football channel. But have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. And adios.